gives you the very best of Sky News wherever you are. Breaking news, videos, analysis.
Up at 6%.
Podcasts, watching us live.
Joins us live.
All in one place, and all at just the touch of a screen. The Sky News app. Get the full story first.
Welcome back. You are watching the press preview, my first look at what's on the front pages as they come into us. Well, it's time to see what's making the headlines with the Daily Mirror columnist, Kevin Maguire, and the former First Minister of Northern Ireland, Baroness Foster. They'll be with us from now until just before midnight. So let's see what's on some of those front pages for you now. According to The Guardian, Sir Keir Starmer has sought to ease the concerns of critics of the President's visit by announcing £150 billion worth of American investment in British business. The Express also leads on Trump's second state visit to the UK and his speech at tonight's state banquet, thanking the King for one of the highest honours of his life. The Metro describes today's pageantry in Windsor as Trump and circumstance. The Eye focuses on that story from an international angle as the King called on the President, who he called a peacemaker, to support Ukraine. And the Star uses today's weather to mock Mr. Trump, saying, "Keep your wig on, orange man baby, it's a bit blowy." And the much-anticipated state banquet featured music from the 007 films, The Sun's headline, The Special Bond. The Daily Mail reports on the new Home Secretary who criticised small boat migrants who dodged deportation. The Financial Times has news of a quarter-point interest rate cut by the US Central Bank, the Federal Reserve. And we are joined tonight by Kevin Maguire and Arlene Foster. Welcome to you both. Let's start, obviously, with the two-day state visit. It's halfway through the state banquet this evening. Let's look at the front page of the Metro. Very clever headline, Trump and circumstance. Kevin, it certainly was, wasn't it? The pageantry, only we do so well.
Well, I think other countries can do it quite well, too. I think the French or even the Chinese in their very military way, which is a bit frightening, but nevertheless. But I think that's a great headline. Although when you read the detail in the Metro, you see they've got a very early deadline. It must be early afternoon because they have the F-35s having the joint UK-US fly past going ahead, which it didn't. It was cancelled because of the weather. But everything else was absolutely incredible and superbly choreographed. But it was spooky watching it because there were no people. And I would have thought Trump must have wondered, where are the adoring British public who really want to see me? Well, we know there were protests elsewhere, but they really laid it on. They rolled out the red carpet for him. But he's also quite easily pleased because there's no address to both houses of Parliament, which I think is the cherry on the cake, the ultimate accolade for a state visit. And he's arrived and MPs and peers have gone away. Barack Obama addressed both houses of Parliament. Even Emmanuel Macron did recently, but they didn't give it to Trump.
Well, I mean, that's the government, let's be honest, Kevin, because they arranged the timing of this visit so that the House of Commons would not be sitting. By the way, the Lords are still sitting.
Sorry, my lady.
But you're right. I mean, he's not getting that great honour of coming to Parliament. But I have to say, this is something that the Royals do so very well. And even from the speeches, the tone is absolutely spot on in terms of what they're trying to achieve in terms of diplomacy. So this is why we do it the best. I definitely think we do. It's
presumably scripted by Downing
yes.
Street and the Foreign Office for the King, in consultation
but I
with
think the King adds pieces in as well because he did mention the environment in his speech tonight. And I can't imagine the Foreign Office or Number 10 adding that in. So I think he's added in a few bits himself.
No drill, baby, drill, was there?
No.
Yes, but I mean, Donald Trump acknowledged that he also was very keen on the environment, and that phrase, as you say, drill, baby, drill, did not make an appearance. He did stray a little bit from his speech, though, didn't he?
What, in
Donald Trump.
Trump, yes. Well, Trump did. Look, Trump always does that. But he had the sickening, America was sickening a year ago under Biden and so on. You just think that's kind of...
But he always does that.
Yeah, but it's kind of cheap.
Every
It's a
speech he
cheap,
makes,
it's a cheap political dig, and it's not entirely true either. But you'll always do that, as you say. But it's not. I don't think it's very good, to be honest.
The Daily Express has this photograph of the King and Queen and the President and First Lady, and he's absolutely beaming, isn't he?
He really
Donald
is.
Trump in this photo.
He really is, and you know, it takes a piece out of his speech, my respect for you and for Britain. He was very fulsome in his praise for the King, and it's always about the King and the royal family. He's not talking about our government. And it was interesting, I thought, that Keir Starmer wasn't sitting beside the principal guests. He was further down. It was very much the royal family that were donutting the president, as it were, not the Prime Minister, and I think that is because they know he has such a regard for the King and for the royal family.
Well, they played the card, because his Scottish mother in particular, from who he clearly reveres, and they play that well. But this is the easy part. Today, of course, it could have gone wrong, but it was the easy bit, and then tomorrow at Chequers is going to be the more difficult bit, and then the press conference. Anything can happen with Trump. You don't know which Trump will turn up.
Interesting today that there was almost an American delegation. You know, we had senior business leaders alongside President Trump. So it was very much the American machine in town, as you say, perhaps sort of pushing Sir Keir Starmer down the table.
I think this visit's also about business. Let's not forget that. And I think later on we'll see one of the headlines referring to £150 billion of investment from the United States. And so that's a very important part of what is happening over the next couple of days as well, particularly in the areas of tech and nuclear. So all of that's happening, as well as the pomp and circumstance that's going on.
Yeah, the front page of The Guardian, PM banks on £150 billion investment to placate critics of the visit. I mean, this is one of the primary reasons, is to get business deals and to hopefully get a more favourable tariff.
Yeah, all those deals will have been done in advance.
Oh, yes,
but they just package them up and they announce it. Nick Clegg, the former Deputy Prime Minister, Liberal Democrat, worked for Facebook, has popped up and described the tech deals as one, sloppy seconds, and two, what does it do to our own tech industry? Because we're going to be beholden to the US, these big tech giants. They're not coming here as philanthropists. They're coming here to make a lot of money, and they will data scrape and begin to take us over even more than they do already, as we use Facebook, Instagram, Google, all owned by US corporations. So yes, there's a lot of money. There will be some jobs, not considerable numbers, although the northeast of England, where I live, is going to get a big centre, which is all plus.
But it's going to be investment nonetheless, though.
But they are here to make money. All right, that's why they're coming here, to make big profits, and there are risks down the line. As Clegg has pointed out.
Also, the UK will make money. It's not a one-way street, is it? If they're coming to invest, there are going to be benefits for the UK. Hence the reason why we want the investment.
Yeah, you can argue it's better they come here than go to another country. But I don't think we need to bend the knee, tug the forelock or whatever about these companies, because they're profit-hungry multinationals. And
yes, but if they're creating jobs and paying taxes in the UK, then that's good for the UK. Well,
let's see about the taxes.
Well, let's see about the taxes, because you know the difficulty with American friends or American companies going to the Republic of Ireland is the worry is that they're not paying enough tax because of the corporation tax in the Republic of Ireland.
Or if you buy something on Amazon, a UK company, a US company in the UK, you're buying in Luxembourg according to the small print. So
I agree.
This is a big issue.
It is a big issue, but I think the important thing is they are our greatest ally. They are bringing investment, and if that means more jobs and more investment for our country, then I think that can only be a good thing.
Let's go back to the King's speech and possibly verging on being political, which we know he's not supposed to be. Diplomat King urges Trump to stand up to Putin tyranny. Has he crossed the line there in terms of meddling in politics?
I think he did it very gently when he mentioned Ukraine, but nevertheless that was a clear message to Trump, because Trump has been given the runaround by Putin. He's given Zelensky a harder time than he has Putin. We saw that terrible attack on Zelensky in the Oval Office. The cutting off of arms and selling arms rather than donating arms, and wanting to pillage Ukraine's natural resources. So I think that's why he raised it. It was noticeable he didn't mention Israel and Gaza. He talked about intractable conflicts, but he didn't name them. But he did Ukraine. So it stood out when you listened. Ukraine did jump out.
Yes, said closest allies must stand together, praising remarkable bond and shared history of the two nations.
And of course, the government will have had a huge input into the speech, and they will have wanted the King to have made these points. But he did reference the fact, and again, this is what the King is trying to do, to gently move him in a particular direction. He talks about you are a man that wants to find solutions. You are a peacemaker, you know, and that, of course, will appeal to Donald Trump, and that's why it's been said in that particular way. Yeah,
it's got to be the nudge softly at this point by the King in public. If he started lecturing and hectoring him,
well,
I think it would have all turned a bit sour. It would have been more fun to watch, but it wouldn't have been very good.
No, that would not have been a protocol either. Kevin and Arlene, thank you very much for the moment. Going to take a break. Coming up, the new Home Secretary claims some asylum applicants who lodged last-minute appeals are falsely claiming to be victims of modern slavery. We'll discuss that next.
We arrive. A secret hospital hidden in the Myanmar jungle, treating the victims of this bloody war. This is Myanmar today. Its military rulers don't want the world to see, but we have.
I fight for my own future. I fight for my generation's future.
This is an actual crime.
They don't care for that.
Myanmar army is only a couple of kilometers away. So this is a major humanitarian disaster.
It's like a football final with only one team on the pitch. This isn't just a call to vote, but a call to remember. The freedom fought for by the African National Congress.
I'm Yusra Al-Bagher, Sky's Africa correspondent based in Johannesburg, South Africa.
A cyclone and 2 burst dams wiped out hundreds of generational homes.
This was the second dam that the floodwaters hit before it tore into Derna.
We are in the heart of Nairobi, and we're watching as protesters were heavily tear gassed.
The sheer fearlessness and persistence of these guys is astonishing.
We help you understand the world with us. I remember going into the iconic Durman market in the heart of Sudan's capital for the first time since the war started. And this is what's left of it. Bullet holes through buildings, shelled balconies, bullet cases on the floor. I witnessed the complete destruction of a place linked to my childhood memories and the lives of millions of people.
This is insane. This was a bustling residential area. So many friends who lived here.
My most memorable interview was with a 15-year-old boy who'd survived being stranded on a migrant boat on its way from Senegal to the Canary Islands.
After 13 days, our food, water and fuel supply ran out.
I felt awe when we saw the mountain gorillas in Rwanda.
They call him the king of the jungle. This is the alpha silverback.
Sky News. Get the full story first. Yusra Al-Bagher, Sky News.
I'm David Blevins, and I'm Sky's Senior Ireland Correspondent. I've spent 30 years reporting the journey from conflict to peace. The end of the political stalemate, the start of a new chapter for Northern Ireland. Catholics and Protestants now facing the same threat.
If we both contract COVID-19, religion's nothing.
Sky News, the full story first.
Fire, shouts the commander. There's a dash to safety.
We've now got to wait inside the shelter to see if there is incoming.
I'm Deborah Hames, Sky Security and Defence Editor. Should Russia's war with Ukraine escalate significantly, pilots like these could be called upon to go into combat for real.
Welcome back. You are watching the press preview, still with me, Kevin Maguire and Arlene Foster. Let's take a look at the front page of the Mail. New Home Secretary blasts lefty lawyer Shabana Mahmood has blasted migrants who lodge last-minute legal challenges, and she's pledging to get tough on this. Kevin.
Yeah, she says they make a mockery of our laws, and also these claims are vexatious. It's a complete change of tone in the government. I can't believe Yvette Cooper would have said this when she was Home Secretary, despite pushing hard to come in with measures to smash the gangs, do the deal.
Perhaps that's why she's no longer Home
do the deal with France.
Shabana Mahmood's much
but Shabana Mahmood was a lawyer and was Justice Secretary. I would have thought she knows if you've got rights and you can make legal claims, you know that is your right to use the law as is set out by Parliament. I'm not sure this strategy of talking the language of the most right-wing reactionary Conservatives, Robert Jenrick, Chris Philp, or Nigel Farage and Reform is going to help Labour, rather than taking a stand and saying, look, migration has been great for Britain. Of course, you have to control it, but nevertheless, we will. But people have rights.
But I think it's a reflection of where we are on this debate. You know, because...
I find that dispiriting.
Well, it may be, but I think Labour are acknowledging that immigration is the #1 issue for a lot of people, and they're saying, hold on a second, you've never claimed that you were a victim of modern slavery before, and now all of a sudden when you're in front of the court, you're a victim of modern slavery, and that's the tactic you're using to avoid being deported. And of course, the irony in all of this is the modern slavery legislation came through under Theresa May. She really championed the modern slavery legislation, and it turns out that it is now one of the tools to stop being deported. So here we are again, looking back at unintended consequences of legislation.
Yeah, I bet she's clearly saying that people are trying to dodge deportation and using this falsely, this claim falsely.
If somebody's managed to get to Britain, they're going to fight deportation. They want to stay. You would expect that. But you have to have a legal system to hear cases fairly. But don't whine when people lodge appeals.
Arlene, take us to the FT and this story regarding British warships being mainly built in Spain for the first time because the construction site in Belfast isn't quite ready.
So Navantia, which is a Spanish company, now owns Harland and Wolff, and they took it over, and that was good news for Harland and Wolff because they were in difficulties at the time in Belfast. Then the announcement came that the Ministry of Defence had awarded them this big contract on 3 ships. And it now looks that the shipyard, unfortunately, isn't ready to build the first of these ships, and it's going to be built in Spain. I think it's the first time that this has happened, which will raise concerns, I think. But I have heard that what's happening in the shipyard is all going well. They're employing more people. They're taking more apprentices in. So it's a matter of timing, but this won't sit well with the story from last week, which was all about the defence industrial strategy and having more economic growth based in the UK and employing more people. So there's a bit of a juxtaposition here, and I think people will be concerned about this, but as I understand it, Harland and Wolff are continuing to build in Belfast.
Kevin, 20 seconds.
Yeah, I find it a bit odd that Royal Navy warships are being built by the Spanish. I'm not a great economic nationalist and flag waver. It's a long time since the Spanish Armada. And France was great, but nevertheless, it does. You know, and concerns are raised. Francis Chusa, editor of the Defence Analysis newsletter, said if the first one's not being built,
it's unlikely.
What happens to the second and third?
Yeah. Kevin and Arlene, thank you so much. We're going to take a break and have a look at the weather for you now. Well, it's looking unsettled all week with strong winds and widespread showers or more prolonged rain, but it'll turn colder from Saturday. There'll be mostly fine start tomorrow, but the muggy south will be cloudy with patchy rain, heavy over Ireland, while the far north can expect blustery showers and coastal gales. Central parts will see showery rain moving in during the morning, while the south will remain rather dull with drizzly outbreaks over western hills. Scotland and northeastern England, meanwhile, look mostly fine, although northern Scotland will be showery with coastal gales. It'll be warm and humid in the south but windy. Southern Scotland and northeastern England can expect rain later, while the southeast of Ireland will see patchy rain throughout. Southwestern Britain will remain rather murky and locally damp. Coming up next on Sky News at 11, all the pomp and pageantry of Donald Trump's second state visit to the UK.
Hear that whistle and that crunch. We know that they're coming from the south of the city where there's a column of Russian armoury. I'm Alex Crawford and I'm Sky's special correspondent based in Istanbul.
Look at that sheet of flames, and that has